Why being alone sometimes builds the strongest men. Most people see loneliness as a weakness. They assume that if a man is alone, something must be wrong. Maybe he failed at relationships. Maybe he's too difficult to deal with. Maybe he simply hasn't found the right person. But what many people don't realize is that some of the strongest men in the world were built during seasons of solitude, because being alone forces a man to confront things he can easily avoid when he's surrounded by constant noise. When a man spends time alone, there's no distraction from his reality. No one to blame, no one to impress, no one to perform for. Just him and the truth about where he stands in life. And that kind of honesty can be uncomfortable. But it's also where real growth begins. When a man is alone, he starts evaluating his habits, his direction, and the choices that brought him to where he is. He begins asking hard questions. What kind of life am I building? What kind of man am I becoming? Am I living with purpose or just reacting to circumstances? Those questions don't usually appear when life is crowded with distractions. Solitude also teaches emotional strength. A man who constantly relies on others for validation becomes fragile. His confidence rises and falls depending on how people treat him. But when a man learns to stand on his own, something changes. He stops chasing approval. He becomes comfortable with silence. He learns that his worth isn't determined by who stays or who leaves. That kind of self-respect is powerful. Another reason solitude builds strong men is because it creates focus. Without constant social pressure or relationship drama, a man can concentrate on improving himself. He can develop discipline. He can build his career, strengthen his mind, and take control of his physical and mental health. History shows that many successful people had periods of isolation where they focused intensely on building themselves. Solitude creates space for clarity. It allows a man to see which relationships truly matter and which ones were just distractions. And perhaps the most important lesson solitude teaches is independence. A man who is comfortable being alone will never stay in the wrong relationship out of fear. He doesn't tolerate disrespect just to avoid loneliness. He doesn't compromise his values simply to keep someone around, because he already knows he can survive without them. That realization changes how he moves through life. Being alone doesn't mean a man rejects connection. It means he refuses to depend on it for his identity. And when the right people eventually enter his life, they aren't there to complete him. They're there to walk beside a man who already knows who he is. If you believe solitude can build strength, comment strength.